So it's Sunday's fixtures in the Barclays Premier League. I've just come off of watching the highlights. It's 10 o'clock here in the morning in Thailand, if you're wondering. And I'm going to go through the four matches. I watched two matches in their entirety, and then I went off to bed, and the other two I saw on highlights. And I'm going to start with one of the highlighted games to get me the juices flowing, as they say. This was the final match on this match day. Brighton at home to Spurs. Spurs, of course, they've got to do without Harry Kane for a number of weeks with an injury. But they had Gareth Bale up front. And Alderweireld and Sanchez were in the heart of the defence for Mourinho's side. Brighton, they look very much unchanged to me, and they got off to a pretty good start. In fact, they were forcing the play. Spurs looking a bit toothless, really, in attack. And Gross, my man of the match from the highlights, he had an early effort following good work by Maupay and McAllister. His effort was clipped just past the post. But 17 minutes, he was involved in the opening goal. A cross from the byline on the right, on a plate really for the incoming Trossard, whose strike was sweet and it hit the corner, and that was 1-0 to Brighton. A little later in the half, Dunk had a header that was cleared off the line really by Bale. But that was the score at the interval. We'd seen nothing of Tottenham in an adventurous attacking sense, and serious questions for Mourinho at the half-time break. Second half, though, things didn't really change that much. The best chances fell to the Seagulls. Lloris had to denied a white flick in a crowded penalty area early into the second half, and then Maupay had a header that flashed just wide. That was from a cross by Sonny March. Finally, sort of midway through the second half, Vinicius tested Sanchez. But that was all I saw in the highlights. Alderweireld had to take evasive action in the defence to block Connolly. It looked certain that they would score, but he got his body in the way, and Brighton really, as was said by their coach, Potter, were really a 2-0 scoreline better than Spurs. But anyway, they did hang on. Usually they succumb and end up drawing all these fixtures, but they got to the finish line. Brighton had beaten Spurs by 1-0. That's two defeats in a row for Mourinho. The question begs, how are they going to react to having no Kane? So final score then, Brighton 1, Spurs 0. Okay, the opening salvo then on Sunday was 12 o'clock kickoff in the UK. I was watching it here at 7 p.m. It was Chelsea at home to Burnley. Second match in charge for new coach Tuchel, and he certainly rotated. We saw Alonso in the left back role. I haven't seen him since September. Thought that he might be on out, but given an opportunity by Tuchel, Mount was in for this fixture. He was on the bench against Wolves. Harvitz on the bench on this occasion. Abraham and Werner up front with Kovacic in midfield. They still haven't got Conte. I think that's a big miss for them. He's been out with an injury for about 5 or 6 games. For Burnley, well, they were still without Barnes and Vidra was up front with Wood, with Rodriguez on the bench. McNeil in now and restored in the midfield. So off we went, and early possession for Chelsea. And in fact, they dominated this game possession-wise. And Kovacic was looking purposeful early on. He got into the box from an Odoi play on the right on 11 minutes, but his effort was went over. And he had another shot on 15 that Pope handled easily enough. Hudson-Odoi on the right flank was getting lots of opportunities, and he was my man of the match, really. He was always looking dangerous and threatening and giving Peters a hell of a time in that right wing left back position. Burnley did improve as the half went on, but nothing substantial really from Dyche's men. Alonso was on the end of a deep cross from Jorginho late in the half, but instead of going for goal, he headed it back across goal, and it led to the collision by two Chelsea players trying to complete the effort and score. We basically were then treated to a piece of absolute brilliance, really, and it wasn't from a striker. I think it was about 25 minutes or something like that, when a sort of break by Chelsea, really. They got the ball out to Odoi, and he penetrated run into the penalty area. On the edge of the box, overlapping, was Azpilicueta, the Chelsea captain, and Odoi just fed the ball neatly to Azpilicueta, and he hit a sweet drive wide of Pope and into the top corner. A rare goal for him, but certainly a great effort, and that was 1-0 for Chelsea. Well deserved. That was the score at the break. Second half, Pulisic came on for Abraham, who, to be honest, hadn't really been effective at all. But Chelsea was still pressing forward, and Odoi was still causing havoc, really. Then Burnley lost Wood to an injury. Rodriguez had already come on, and so they brought on a new lad for a debut. But Odoi threatening down the right, 67 I've got here. And it was a great run, and the cross, Mee managed to almost steer it into his own net, but it just went wide of the post. And then Mount had been growing in stature as well. He put Pulisic through, but the American just couldn't control it. That was 66. And then on 70 minutes, again, the two combined. This time Pulisic dragged his shot inches wide of the post. But it looked like if there was going to be a second goal, it was going to be for Chelsea. Burnley had no cutting edge up front and were basically relying on the counter, but weren't really creating any opportunities when they did have a slight chance. And then finally, Reece Jones came on. He looked influential. He replaced Odoi on 74. He struck Pope's legs early on. But then 83 minutes down the left, some cute play by Pulisic to Alonso. Alonso, with his back to go, collected the ball on his instep. He swiveled and hit a beautiful volley across Pope into the far corner. An absolute striker's goal. And that was the second for Chelsea. and they marched to the finish line. Pretty comprehensive win, really, for Tuchel's men. Burnley, no attempts on goal, I wrote here, and apart from one header by Tarkowski in added time. So final score then at Stamford Bridge. Thomas Tuchel off to a winning start, so to speak, at the Bridge. Final score, Chelsea 2, Burnley 0. Second game that I watched was a thoroughly entertaining contest between Leicester, who were third at kickoff, against Leeds. Now, we've come to get used to the fact that when Leeds are on the pitch, there's a guarantee of goals. They score a lot and they concede a lot. Perez was up front for Leicester again. Still no Vardy with that hernia recovery. Other than that, both sides looked at full strength. But it was frantic in the early 10 minutes. Lots of midfield action, lots of attacking raids, but no real chances to cause any bother for Meslier and Schmeichel. But then on 12 minutes, a lovely piece of play by Leicester involving James Maddison and Harvey Barnes. And Maddison used the wall pass with Barnes to set him up in the box. It was a nice finish in the corner, and that was 1-0 for Leicester. And they just about deserved that, but they didn't hang on to it for very long. A counter-attack on 14 minutes, typical of Leeds, really. Ayling, their club captain, moving the ball into Leicester's half very quickly, and Bamford onto it, and he produced a delicate little short pass to the on-running Dallas, who steamed into the box. And Dallas's first-time shot was a beauty, right in the corner. Schmeichel didn't have a hope, and we were back level, 1-1. Perez then had an opportunity, but it was a deflection after a Maddison shot, but his effort was ruled offside, even though it hit the net, and clearly that was correct. 32 minutes, Harrison latching onto a beautiful crossfield ball, and he tested Schmeichel with quite a strong drive. The keeper pushed it behind, and so that was a let-off, I would say, for Leicester. Bamford was looking more and more influential, but his header from a corner was ruled offside, and not him, but Click was the culprit after Schmeichel had clawed out Bamford's header, but it was clearly offside, so it remained 1-1. Leeds were getting stronger, it has to be said, and they were starting to dominate, and Rafinha forced a great save from Schmeichel on 32, and then another effort by Perez in added time. But at the break, Leeds looked on top, and they were causing quite a lot of trouble, particularly down Leicester's wings. And so after the break, we saw changes run by Rodgers. He brought Soyuz on, the Turk, to line up a three-man defence alongside Evans and Fofana. And the two wing-backs, of course, were then given the opportunity to go forward more. And it seemed to do the trick. Early parts of the second half, and Leicester were certainly starting to control the game. Justin on 47 minutes had a shot, but it was blocked. And then a Tielemans effort on 61 but fairly easy for Meslier in the Leeds goal. Leeds was certainly still in this, and on 69, an absolutely delightful pass out of defence from Leeds. Eventually, Bamford was put through on the edge of the penalty box on the left side, and he cracked a gorgeous shot that was far too good for Schmeichel in the top corner, and Leeds had gone in front. After that, Leicester was certainly pursuing vigorously for an equaliser, and Fofana had a shot blocked. Soyuz's header looked like it might just creep in, but Perez and Evans got in each other's way a yard out, but one of them should have actually scored. But that second goal for Leicester didn't materialise. And then 7 minutes from time, a breakaway, a counter from Leeds, and it was a real peach of a move. And the ball quickly up the left wing. Leicester had put a lot of men forward, so they were struggling at the back. Bamford was put through on his own, and he ran forward towards the box, but Harrison had decided that he wanted to keep him company, and so unselfishly Bamford pushed the ball to Harrison when Schmeichel advanced, and he had an open goal and he slotted it home. And so they completed impressive away victory. Leicester really, they miss Vardy desperately. Perez did a good job, but he just hasn't got that pace, and he hasn't got that awareness either of being the target man. He can't run off the shoulder. So an impressive result for Leeds. Bielsa was absolutely delighted. Final score then at the King Power: Leicester City 1, Leeds United 3. So the third match on offering, my final roundup for the day, was the much anticipated clash at the London Stadium between West Ham, who started the day in fourth and had been on an impressive run, to say the least, and they were entertaining the champions Liverpool, who'd started to look perhaps back to their best with an emphatic win at White Hart Lane in the week. However, Liverpool further setbacks in defence, and Jorginho wasn't fit, so Phillips came into the back line alongside the club captain, and his name has escaped him, Henderson. Right, I got there. So that was a blow. Mane also had a knock. He wasn't available, wasn't even on the bench. So Origi was up front with Salah and Firmino. So to the action then. Robertson had to clear off the line. That was an early opportunity for the Hammers. I think that was from a strike by Antonio. A little later, Origi got to the byline and clipped it back to Salah, but Cresswell got in and blocked the effort. And then an effort wide by Antonio. But it was pretty slim pickings for the first 55 minutes. And then on 57 minutes, some good approach play by Liverpool. They got the ball out to Salah, who was on the right edge of the box. And of course, he has that magical weaving ability to create some space on the left peg. And he did so, and he slotted it in the corner. It was a pretty good finish, to be perfectly honest, from Salah. And that was 1-0 for the champions. After that, they started to take control, and they scored another goal on 68. This followed an audacious crossfield pass by Shaqiri from the left wing to the advancing Salah, who was approaching the penalty area on the right. His control was sublime, and he nicked it past Fabianski to put the Reds 2 up. And then on 84 minutes, with the heads dropping in the West Ham defence, some clever work by Firmino managed to set up Wijnaldum on and around the penalty box, and he finished it with precision. And that was 3-0, and that followed a corner. So in the end, it was a clinical performance from the strike force that's Liverpool FC. West Ham's sort of great run came to an end. Bit of a reality check for Moyes, and I think he knew that when he was on interview. But for Klopp, well, this is back to where they want to be. And of course, with so many injuries, it's difficult to imagine really what this side would be doing if they were at full strength. But they're at the moment now, they've gone into 4th place in the league following this victory. So a quick look at the table, and I've jotted it down. So Man City are at the top with 44 points from 20 matches played. Man U are second, 41 from 21 played. Liverpool are now up to third, not fourth, 42 points from 21. Leicester in fourth on 39. West Ham down to fifth, they've got 35. Spurs and Chelsea, 33 points, alongside Everton in 6th, 7th and 8th. And the top half of the table, Villa on 9th with 32. Villa and Everton have only played 19 though, so they could jump up a few places. Arsenal sneaking in now on 10th. I didn't check all the bottom clubs, only to say that Brighton are on 21 now, and they've got quite a few points, 7 points buffer to Fulham, who are third from bottom. That's your lot then. That's the roundup for this week in the Premier League. Hope you enjoyed it.